Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Knowledge Boner podcast. It is Wednesday. I am your host, Dylan Starr. Got my boy Wally Wynn. Um, and today we are going to be talking about momentum. Uh, this is kind of a recap week from when we started the podcast. And, me and Wally are both kind of in the momentum phase. And we just wanted to kind of recap and just explain like what's been going on, where we're at with everything, and how to know when you're at momentum, how to keep it, and how to react. Um, why don't you tell your experience, Wally, with what's happening, how you're kind of gaining momentum, and I know you're kind of at that point where you're ready to scale, but at the same time, you're a one man show right now, right? So you gotta learn outsourcing and stuff. So why don't you tell them about kind of like where
Right.
you're at with momentum and what kind of preparations you're about to do.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, just for you guys' knowledge, I kind of just restarted on my solo venture. I call it a solo venture. I have other people that work with me. Fung, which is my brother, and then I have another girl I worked with since my first company, Heather, and they help me out with the stuff that we do right now. But as far as like the marketing and like the main like meat of the business work, yeah, that's me solo, for the most part right now. Um, and so really, I guess it's talking about just getting momentum in general. So obviously everybody's going to go through that phase where you have nothing going on. So what I mean by nothing is like literally nothing. Like maybe you're prospecting all day. So maybe you're out there sending like hundreds of DMs and like sending out cold emails and all that stuff. And your life is just all prospecting, right? And I know this is true for a lot of people who like start their entrepreneurial journey. They'll, especially like in this age where you have LinkedIn and Facebook and everybody. So they're all like, they just play the DM game crazy. So I know this was true for me. And then that was my life for like almost months, and that's all I did every day. DM, email, cold, what I mean? And literally all day. And it's kind of funny, is whenever you finally start getting those first few clients now you realize that you're actually having to do work. Right? You actually have to be able to perform the service you're doing, give people value and all that stuff. And I think that's the one thing that I need to talk about first is when you're out there prospecting 100%. When you finally do get somebody, you're gonna have to make that switch in your brain and realize, okay, now I've got to do both. Now I've got to prospect and still do the work, and make sure I do quality work, right? And so you're gonna get your first client, and then you're gonna continue forward, and then you're gonna get your second client, and then you're gonna get your third client. So kind of how it's been happening for me is, I anchored down my first client pretty quickly, and then it took me a while to get a second one, right? And I got a second one, and then I got a third one. But the second and third ones happened almost like back to back weeks, right? And then now, recapping the last few weeks here, the last episode we talked about, me closing a tax consultant. But going even further, just before that same weekend, I had actually interacted with 3 business owners that I had known already in the past, and they're coming back full circle to like come and retain me as they want to be a client of mine, right? Because I did such good work for them before in the past. And then now, as you guys talked about earlier, just 2 days ago, I went through Louisiana, and I've met these other 2 business owners that I knew in the past also, who are also needing some help, and they're also getting to the point where they're trying to scale. So just kind of give you very, very quickly, this is a very short amount of time in which I've potentially got, 8, 9 people, like good solid leads that are inside my ecosystem now, right? And so that's what we mean by momentum is like at first it's kind of slow, right? You're gonna get your first client, and then you're just gonna feel like nothing's ever happening, but it's gonna go to 100 really fast. Like when you start catching speed, it's gonna be like bam, 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 bam. You can ask Dylan right now. Dylan was probably feel exactly the same way I did. Always prospecting, always trying to get leads, and now he's got a freaking whole calendar. His whole next week is booked. This week is booked back to back to back to back. And so imagine going from nothing and going to that. Like that's how you've hit momentum. It's like, oh my gosh, and now you're trying to scramble to make sure you can do the work, but then also still prospect and get more clients, right? And so for me, what I've had to do is now I'm trying to figure out, okay, how can I scale appropriately, right? Because if I'm a one-man show, at some point when I hit the 5 to 6 client mark, I'm going to start getting towards my limit. And we kind of talked about this earlier, probably about 20 episodes ago. We talked about how to scale agency businesses and that kind of stuff. And we're starting to get to that point, and that's the part where I'm going to have to figure out exactly what I said, right? So I'm going to have to figure out, how can I scale appropriately where the work will be equally done, but I can also, build my company without having to, you know, well, without having well, one, lose quality of work, but then two, without having to bring too many extra people into my ecosystem, right? And what I mean by my ecosystem in this case is like people you have to pay, right? So, you know, you want to minimize that as much as possible. Obviously, you want to outsource and you want to train people to do work, but you're trying to figure out, okay, how can I scale my business with a reasonable margin out of my profits and still make a good bit of money and continue scaling
Yeah,
this
and one thing that I think is interesting too, that I'd love for everyone listening to hear that you did, that I was actually really happy you did. You did. There's a trap you didn't fall into as you gain momentum, and what it was is, right now, Wally is handling the work, right? All this workload, plus he's bringing in new clients. So, in terms of generating revenue, like Wally's revenue producing activity right now is what? It's networking and getting clients in, and he has to handle the work. Well, one of his first clients needed a full blown website done. That was a lot of work. Now, he knows he's hitting momentum. So, Wally, being an entrepreneur, right, he avoided a big common trap because he knows he's hitting momentum. And this is what a lot of people will fall into, right? He's a one man shop. His revenue producing activity is building his business, right? Now, but a client comes to him and says that, hey, I need this website. And Wally knows this website is going to be very, very time consuming. And what most people will do, because again, they make it about the money, which is wrong to do, is they will try to appease their clients in the sense of bending over backwards. And Wally, being logical, was firm and said, hey, I can do this for you, but it's not going to be done in the time you want. He wasn't afraid to tell his client that. He was straight up and honest with him, like, look, it's not going to be done in that time frame. This is how long I can do. And to take it one step further, which again, so proud of my boy, I can do it in that amount of time, but if I do, you're going to have to pay me for it. So when you're in momentum, I think what's interesting about that is don't get caught in the trap of when you start getting clients and hitting momentum of just being in this overwhelmed state of like, okay, oh crap, now my client needs this and they want it done like right now and stuff. Like being firm and dedicating time to doing your client's work, because I'm assuming that's the only way you're able to manage this. I mean, you're doing the work for multiple clients right now. You're still networking. You're still bringing in revenue. I mean, how are you just dedicating time per day this is the time I'm dedicating to this client's work, and then that's it. And then going on about networking, like, why don't you tell people about that and how you're kind of juggling all this?
Yeah, so I'm very particular about what I'm doing in my time right now. And what I mean by that is I'm not necessarily counting the hours, but I'm making sure that the time that I do spend on client work is productive work. So what I mean by that is, for example, like I know in my schedule that I have to attend certain things to get into my networking meetings and stuff, right? Which means that there are certain days of the week that I have time allotted to where I can work on my client work. So what I try to do is, well, one, I wake up really early in the morning to work. So, we're talking like, sometimes just this weekend, even traveling and stuff, I woke up at 5:00 in the morning every day to work for 3 or 4 hours to get my stuff done, right? And so what I kind of do is I try to dedicate my really early morning hours or really late at night to my client work. So that way that leaves me 100% free in the day to do networking and shake hands and do whatever I need to do.
Okay. And so what advice would you have for people for kind of being able to kind of like stay firm, be honest with the client, like not be afraid to tell them like, look, I have my own business, I'm still doing onboarding. I have a lot amount of time. What advice do you have for them to say so they don't get caught into that trap of just, hey, a client just reached out to me and they need XYZ right now. And then you're right in the middle of trying to prospect, or you're right in the middle of doing someone else's work. And then, you stop what you're doing, you cater them. What advice do you have for them so they don't fall into that trap? Because that kills momentum big time.
Having to stop and sometimes if they want like immediate help and that kind of stuff. But really, well, for me, it was the relationship, right? and that's why I think it's so strong. Like I think that's why the networking is really like playing in my favor, is because what I'm doing is I build the relationship with the client. You know what I mean? Like I provide, I do quality work for them. Everything I say I'm gonna do, I deliver on time, and that kind of stuff. So I built a lot of trust with this particular client, right? And so if you have enough trust with your client, you can be 100% honest with them, and they're not going to do, like, they're going to accept your word for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you weren't afraid from the deadline they asked to be like, hey, I'll deliver on time, but that's not a realistic deadline. Like, it's not going to be done by then. And what
Yeah.
and what was your client's reaction to that?
She was like, no. No, she's like, I totally understand. I trust you. Like, she's like, I would never. She's like, I just wanted to bring that to your attention that I wanted it, you know, but she was basically, she understood, because it's like, there's some requests that are reasonable, right? But if it's an unreasonable request, or if it's something that is going to take a lot of time, you just be upfront about it. But hey, look, this is going to take more time than it's allotted. Like, and then in the future, you can set the expectations from there forward. You say, hey, look, if you have something like this that's going to pop up and you know about it ahead of time, you can say, hey, like, I need a little more time than this. It's like, I'll deliver as much as I can, right? I'll deliver to my best of my ability of what I can do, but I can't give you any more than that. If you want my best and on time and 100%, then I need time ahead of time. That's basically what you have to say.
That's awesome. That's really good advice too. And now, we talked before about productivity and managing our time, not being readily available. Wally is actually very soon probably going to have to be to the point where his calendar is set to where when clients, as he scales and clients need his time so that he can be dedicating to helping them instead of being readily available, it's important that you position yourself in the beginning, like, hey, I'm here to help you, but I'm not your servant. Like, I'm going to be, this is my calendar. If you have any questions or something you need me to work on, instead of just picking up the phone right away, giving them your calendar link. This is like huge gold advice, especially when you're hitting momentum. And I learned this from my mentor. But it's setting up realistic expectations to where, like, hey, here's the link, let's discuss what it is that you need. But, I'm not going to be readily available because I'm so busy with my business. Time you have, you're going to have my undivided attention. While he's getting to that point where he's going to have to really start managing his time and being ultra productive, which is an awesome problem to have. So, now, my story, the team I'm on, the influencer we're closing for, you have somebody that's figured out that system on and the floodgates open. So from my standpoint and our team and all the other leaders and people on our team, I had to tell them, look, guys, all these leads are coming in, and we're manually entering these appointments, and we have a calendar system. So I told them, we're at the point where we're hitting momentum. We're at the point where on the side, we're going to have to put in extra hours to start figuring out as more influencers come in and we expand our team. I'm in charge of, teaching people our system. That's my role as well. So from my standpoint of productivity and momentum, I have to figure out a system to where we can be productive enough not to waste time, still be able to onboard new people to our team, still be able to handle leads coming in as we get more influencers, as well as how can I outsource and automate this to where our other leaders who are giving us these leads will have more free time. And we had a deep conversation because you guys know in the past, I've shared a story about when I hit crazy momentum, we ran into the same exact problem that we're having now on our team, which is a good problem to have. And that is, as all these leads are coming in, we're hitting all these snags and we're having to do extra work. How can we outsource that extra work? So because I've had that experience, it makes me valuable for our team because I've already hit the snag and I already know the step-by-step process that we have to make. And the other team leaders were like, holy crap, like I didn't even think about that. That's helpful. And the only reason why I know that is because I've hit momentum before and we had to figure it out. So I'm thankful that I have that experience and that skill to be able to apply that now for our team because it's super valuable. So when you hit momentum, like think about if Wally just all of a sudden got like 100 clients in a month. All of a sudden his clients are coming in asking questions or they're emailing him, selling e-commerce, and customers are emailing him and asking questions, right? So now Wally has to figure out, okay, how do I respond to these emails for my side asset of all these customers buying from my store? and then plus manage my clients.
Yeah, so like think about it like this, now basically the strategy, and I'm going to tell you my strategy 100% is, I'm like right now, is how I can leverage other people's time to get the work I need to get done, but also free up my time so I can continue to go do exactly what I'm doing right now, go and get more clients, bringing in more revenue in the business, right? So that's basically the name of the game, is how can I leverage someone else's time, somebody else with skills, right? I'm not saying it's not just anybody. How do I leverage someone else's skills to help me get the work I need done? Now, I might even pay myself less to get the work done, but the point is that now my time is now freed up to go and continue to grow and scale, right?
Well, not just that, but especially guys, if you're in the internet game like we are, there are tons of softwares and programs with AIs that are tremendously worth using and investing in, that to where you don't even need people, where you can automate your processes. Something that we're gonna have to use soon, that's going to be able to take a lead that comes in, divvy it up to a team member, automatically input the information for us, right? So that time's alleviated. So as you hit momentum and you get better, you're going to have to. It's very simple, guys, and this is literally the formula. You stop, even if you're overwhelmed. Overwhelmed is good. That means you're growing. But if you hit momentum like we have, you have to stop, look at a piece of paper, and just ask yourself, what problems am I having? What's going on right now that's causing me overwhelm? Oh, I have all these leads coming in, and I'm having to input them. Okay, cool. I'm spending so much time having to respond. Okay, cool. You can on a piece of paper. It's not so bad. Now you know what actions you have to take to be able to alleviate that. Now you know what to go online, what to search for to solve these problems, what stuff you can test, right? And even if it means a monthly fee of a software that's going to solve this problem for you, that monthly fee is tremendously worth it, because it's taking time away from it. Now, if Wally is the bread maker of this company and bringing in clients, and if he can close clients at $2,000 a month plus, then Wally investing $50 or $100 a month into something that's going to free up his time to bring in $2,000 a month is completely worth it. So hopefully, I hope that makes sense to people when it comes to like outsourcing and realizing that, momentum's a good thing. Yes, it's overwhelming, but you're going to become creative. You're problem solving. You have no choice. And this is the best part that I love about entrepreneurship, guys, is when you hit momentum, there's no excuses. You have no fucking choice but to figure it out. It's do or die. It's not like, oh my God, this is so horrible, blah, blah, blah. No, you're going to hit a new snag, a new challenge every single time, and you're going to grow and you're going to overcome it. And you're going to be able to just do it again and again and again because you've already done it once. So it's everyone says this, but I can completely relate. You really do have to love the process and the journey of entrepreneurship over like the results, because it's the journey that ends up becoming addicting, and why most entrepreneurs later, there's no retiring. It's just boring. Like, you just love it. We were talking about this with Wally's dad. Why don't you tell him about the story about your dad?
Yeah. So my dad, he owned a marina. So for people that don't know what a marina is basically, we sell fishing boats and like fishing gear and like fix up motors and that kind of stuff for freshwater boats. So that's my dad's bread and butter business. That's like what he built from the ground up when he first came to this country, right? And so that was his his baby. But even after he retired from the business, because my dad's 66 now, 67, 66, I can't remember the exact age. He's over 65. He's retired, right? So now what's kind of funny is he's retired. The shop's not even open anymore, and the people, his clients, are still, bringing him, boats and stuff on the side. Well, one, because my dad's a badass mechanic, but another piece of it is because he's bored, right? His baby is gone, like the business that he built from the ground up. So now he needs something to do, something to work on, right? So now my dad is like he's retired like on paper, but he's still an entrepreneur. Like, he still takes on projects every day. I just went home this weekend, and his next project is, what, man, I want to convert this bus. He got a bus, and he's trying to convert the bus into an RV. Like, who does that at retired age. Not many people, but if you're an entrepreneur, your brain's still going. You want to be innovative. You're still creative. So, and I think kind of tying that together with Dylan's thing about the journey, that's my dad. He's like, now, I've already made my money. I've already been successful. I had the journey, but now, I need something else to kind of fuel that fire for me, because it never goes away. Like, it stays with you. And entrepreneurs, if you ever feel that fire go away, then you're probably on the way towards death. Because entrepreneurs, like, as an entirety, as a species, I'm going to say, you cannot stop creating. Like, you will not be able to.
Oh, no, 100%. I mean, gosh, you have so many ideas, and which again, it's funny, and why I'm so excited about this podcast as well is just we talk a lot about these traps that we're not aware of, that people do fall into, that we're sharing, and it's just so cool to be able to like share it, because there really are so many things you figure out and traps you fall into, and one of them even being ideas. Like Warren Buffett talks about this. And as entrepreneurs, we get so excited and we have all these ideas, right? And we like, oh, I can't wait to get to this someday. And as you study the most successful people, as much as a bummer as it is to hear them say, like, I cringe, but they always say, like, okay, cool. Now take a list that you have and start just deleting stuff from it. Erase it from your memory, never go to it again. Like, being so entrepreneur minded and loving this, wanting to bring another idea into fruition, successful Warren Buffett say that's hard to do. That it's, think about that. Like, you have all these ideas and these aspirations and stuff you can't wait to get to, but purposes to be able to go and just erase it and get it away from your memory bank. It really is. But I see that the reason why they're saying it is because it's a trap, right? You get so consumed with so many different things, and then you can't focus and build with the first thing that you were supposed to do. So you really have to hone in on, look, what is it that you want to do long-term career-wise, that you can sustain to a massive, massive income stream that doesn't need you anymore. And that's really what it's all about. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, figuring out what you want to do, and we did that. I think we did this a few weeks back, and it circles back to the same conversation. Like, what you want to do, and another piece of it is pick the right thing. And what I mean by that is sometimes what you want to do, it may not, like, you may love it, right? It might be the best thing, but it might not have the capability to give you the income that you need or that you want, right? So, for example, let's say, I mean, this is not possible, but it is actually, no, I'm not gonna say it's not possible, but it's unlikely. Let's say I really want to be a janitor, and that was like my dream job, and but my dream job is being a janitor, and I achieved that dream, but I also want to be $100 millionaire. I want to make $100 million. Can I, like, realistically speaking, right? If on a janitor's salary, if I work a 40-hour week, like, even if I vest correctly, even if I get like retarded lucky, like, is that a career field or a line of work that's going to be able to help me scale to what I want? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because it's about the skills again. Like, just like we talked about last episode, the skills that you need for a janitor to be a janitor is not very high level skills, right? Anybody can be a janitor. You may not want to be a janitor, but anybody can be one. You get paid for your skills.
Yep, precisely. And that's what it's all about, guys. So that was kind of the discussion of today is momentum, what we've learned right now just from kind of finally experiencing it.
I have one more thing about momentum, and I think it's kind of funny. I actually had this thought and then I lost it, but now I got it back. But momentum, one thing also, and I think it's kind of funny. It's kind of like the concept for me is like I'm imagining a ball on top of a hill, right? And so most people think, like, let's say I'm trying to roll the ball down the hill. Technically, all I have to do is push the ball to the edge, and then momentum takes over, and it will carry it down the hill for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can agree with that. If you're looking at like a slope, think of like your shitty physics class with the ball on the hill and it rolls down the hill, right? But that's a good concept for gravity. But actually, when it comes to momentum in business and entrepreneurship, you actually have to keep putting down the pedal. So you're not just pushing the ball all the way up to the edge and you're gonna let it roll down. Like, no, you're forcefully pushing that ball down. In fact, I would be connected to it and rolling with it. I would attach myself to that ball and make sure and figure out how I can continue to make it roll even faster as it goes further down. And I think that's one thing that people don't realize is that sometimes they hit momentum and they're like, oh shit, I got all this work, I have to stop. Like I have to catch up with all the work, and I've got to do all this, blah blah, and I'm just gonna stop prospecting. I'm not gonna reach out anymore. I'm just gonna kill everything. I'm okay, and that is a freaking mistake.
Wally would push the ball down the hill and then go to the bottom of the hill and start digging and making the hill go even longer.
Or making the hill have a more angled slope. Make sure it goes faster.
Yeah, exactly. Well, cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. Reach out to us. Let us know what you think of this week. Anything else that you want covered, let us know, and we will cover it for you guys. Happy to always share our journey. As always, follow us on Instagram. You can find me at official Dylan Starr and Wally at Wally_the robot. Or actually, I'm Dylan Starr official. Sorry. Brain fart for a second there. And if you're tuning in from Reddit, Wally, have you been active in Reddit the past week or?
Yeah, I've been posting, Reddit. I'm pulling back a little bit. I'm being a little less consistent because obviously, guys, we're all about adjusting and making pivots, right? And so Reddit doesn't seem to be not to say I shouldn't post there, but it doesn't seem to be the right spot for this particular moment. So I'm reducing that, but I'm thinking that we're going to be picking up a different channel a little more heavier. You're probably going to see more stuff from my Instagram and Dylan's Instagram about the podcast. So make sure you guys are following us. Obviously, still follow on Reddit because I'm still going to post on there because it's fun. But, but just know, just like we talk about in this whole thing, we're trying to figure out different strategies and stuff to make sure that, we can get in front of people and help as many people as possible, right?
Right. Yeah, that's what it's all about. And we hope you guys have an awesome, let's say today's hump day, right?
Hump day?
Yeah, hump day. Hopefully that was valuable. Everyone has some super bomb knowledge boners right now, especially if you've been experiencing momentum and maybe something clicked, or maybe you realized a trap that you almost fell into. That's what this is all about, is helping you guys. We love, everyone that's been tuning in. Thank you so much. And we will catch you guys tomorrow and have an amazing hump day. Later, guys.